Okay, so welcome back. So we are now in the third module where we have four sets of small videos and associated PDFs. You must have seen on the website where you access this video. We do have the PDF available for all these different topics that we are trying to cover on this in this particular as part of this project. So this is, as you know, this is NDC Transport Initiative for Asia. It's supported by Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Action from the German government, and also International Climate Initiative. They are part of that. So today's this particular video we will be focusing on transport policy in the Indian context. And we would like to make it very clear that this set of slides has been prepared by a good friend of mine who happens to be my batchmate from IIT Kharagpur when we did our undergraduate together here at IIT Kharagpur, Dr. Sarath Gundikunda. He runs that urbanemissions.info, and you can always go to his website for a lot of information related to air pollution and transport related stuff, especially for mostly these days his work is mostly focused in Indian context, but he has done a lot of global work, including working for World Bank and other organizations in the past. Very talented gentleman and very kind enough to help us with this project, and also ready to share this set of slides with us so that we can use it. And we are included here with his permission. So let's get started. So we kind of looked at in terms of transport policy, especially when you look at from the Indian context. This paper came out in February 2023. So in terms of what is polluting Delhi's air, there was a review from 1990 to 2012, and they found that in terms of in Delhi, annual average PM2.5 was around 100 micrograms per meter cube, 20 times more than what WHO guideline says of 5 micrograms. So this is an improvement compared to the limited information available to pre-CNG conversion. So immediately before or after 2010, which is a Commonwealth Games, and the mid 2010 as well. So there was a lot of continuous technical and economic interventions. It's of course it's not in a very good shape, but there has been some improvement there. So in terms of those, the transport is considered as the biggest contributor. So if you look at the sector based contribution to PM2.5 from Delhi, these are at least 4 discrete sectors that each substantially contribute to Delhi's pollution. So we do have the source opportunity studies were done by IIT Kanpur, which is the method top down, location Delhi, based on urban emissions reinterpretation of done by Sarma and Mukesh, and then CPCB report, then TERI and ARI, and then urban emissions, they also did their own study. So here in industry, where industry, transport, biomass and waste burning and dust. So those were, as you can see, the data from 4 different sources. The data does vary a little bit, especially for dust. Dust is higher share of emissions in summer according to TERI. So, and then TERI and CPCB include municipal and commercial waste, but IITK only talk about municipal waste burning. IITK's diesel and petrol categories are used, which may overestimate transport since it includes diesel generator sets. IITK was a fuel based study, and the coal estimate is used for industry, and diesel generator sets are not included but are reported under the transport for this study. So depending on where you get the data, and there will be a variability there, but more or less it found that consolidated score contribution to annual average PM2.5 concentration across Delhi. You see the vehicle exhaust, dust from road, industrial sources, residential cooking, open waste burning, power plants, dust storms, which is a seasonal source, agricultural residue, Diwali firecrackers as a 2-day extreme event source, which is actually under 1%, but because of 2-day extreme event, it becomes too much during that stuff, and then we see all those news media coverage and everything happening there. So, and then in terms of, if you look at transport is considered the biggest contributor from real time. If you look in January 2023 and June 2023, the real time data, as you can see in 17th, 18th March, and then also 17th June or 18th June study over there. In terms of if you look at secondary aerosol, soil and dust, industries, and all those different sources are there, and the transport again is considered as the biggest contributor. So, there has been India's National Clean Air Program, where 23 states, 122 cities, 92 action plans, this much of action points. So, what is the action point? We all transport modes, summary of action points by theme, industries, waste management, household cooking. So, this detail can be found in urban emissions 2019 if you go to urban emissions info. And they also looked at the institutional, physical and economic. So, these are the action points that they looked at. So, in Delhi as well as the nationwide, early mass norms was there 19, then we have the BS2, BS3, BS4, and we had like a BS2 came nationwide. Nationwide is slightly behind Delhi. Now we are BS6 also, after BS4 we are BS6 since 2020 onwards. So, with the CNG, if you look at the over the years, annual average PM 2.5 concentration in Delhi from the 1989 to 2002, and PM which is your y-axis, and your number of continuous stations, which is written on y-axis on the right hand side, and data availability as a 15 minimum points available that year. So, that is from based on that they collected, and this is total derived data, and then the orange one is of the ITO data, then national standard, WHO guideline, and number of stations has been how many number of stations we have. Now, we have more than nearly 40 stations. So, here as you can see, during the CNG conversion, and I was actually personally I was there during that period. I used to live in Delhi between 1997 to 2001. So, we have seen that CNG conversion, and of course, some of the hardship that came with that, but as you can see, it did help. It did help, but again with so much of vehicles, so much of out there, again the things have gone back up, and but what we will see is that then there were other experiments. So, there was other experiments, odd even experiments, whether it did work or not work, that is whether this odd even experiment worked. So, here non-odd even trial hours and odd even trial hours, you can see 1 to 15 June, whether it is decreased or increased. So, during odd even trial, which it's over there. So, the ratio of PM 2.5 against 25 December. So, if you compare with 25 December, which is 2015 as compared to 2016, you see that there has been some, like a odd even trial seems to have some impact where in there as well. So, they also looked at in Patna, for example, like a vehicle scrappage, motorcycles, cars, auto plus tempos, SUVs. So, they were trying to understand what is the flat average age, annual usage with them, what is 10 years old or more than 10 years old vehicles which people are using there. So, this is in terms of vehicle scrappage, what should be the how much, where we should stop using our cars. Then people have started looking at BRTs and bus lanes in during the Commonwealth Games 2010, how that is good, that has impacted. Metro rail system, we have 390 kilometers, 286 stations, 6 million passengers per day. So, that is people are using those metro rail in Delhi. Then freight expressway is also there, each side, this much of heavy duty vehicles comes in thorough traffic 50%, and then they 30 to 50% of the PM 2.5 emissions is actually coming from heavy duty vehicles. So, EV promotion is also going on, 25% new cells by 2024. In 2024, we expect that 25% more EV cells will be there. So, is the CO2 emissions per kilometer will be lower in electric car compared to IC car in 2030. So, from 130 gram per CO2 emissions per kilometer, it will go down to 122 gram per CO2 emissions from, and current trends in scenario of the grid, and then if you go to 31% renewables, right now 22% renewable penetration is there, but if you go to 33% renewable by 2030 with the improvement of the vehicles and all, we will see more than 86 gram of CO2 emissions per kilometer. So, this is based on this particular paper done by this urbanemissions.info. During COVID-19 lockdown also had the impact, where we saw that average of during this COVID period, different data. Based on the different data, you saw that there was a drop of air emissions there. Then urban emissions, the Sarath have come up with this Apna City program air sets, where they are looking at variety of they are going to different states, different cities within the states, and trying to collect the data so that we can have a pan India data of different emissions. So, this video was, again, as I said, this is essentially done by Sarath. The papers which is listed there is available. You can download those papers, and the first paper is an open source paper. You can download those. It has been published in open source. You can get most of these emission all this emission information in this particular video actually comes from urbanemissions.info. You can go to his website and go to their website and check it out. And then there is an extended version of this video is also available as part of a webinar that we did. So, in this particular website, if you look at the webinar side, we do have Sarath kind of going over this in more detail. So, thank you, and we will look forward to seeing you in the next video.